All right, Larson, today on Hot Takes, we're going to do the thing that you love to do most, and that's dog CM Punk. We got a couple of hot takes, anti-CM Punk right up your alley, man.
I can't win. You're putting me in a position to make me look bad if I give my honest opinion, maybe.
All right, we're going to start out with this.
That's what I'm talking about. You're trying to put me in the corner of being...
Nobody puts Larson in the corner.
Nobody puts Larson in the corner, especially when you try to say I got Punk derangement syndrome.
As much as I've tried to put you in a corner, buddy, I can't. Listen, Ian Orgorgi says, CM Punk has lost a lot of his aura for me coming back to WWE. Maybe I'm just biased, but now all he really feels, it's like a Larson burner account.
It's not.
All he really feels is like a good promo and a sea of good promos. His in-ring work isn't bad, but there's also so many people just as good as him. Don't we have another one?
Yeah, I think this says JJJ. So I'm happy he's back at WWE. I'm not saying he's washed, but CM Punk has definitely regressed with his promos. And while he should still be a top star, he shouldn't be main eventing WrestleMania at this stage in his career. We've spoken about this before, about how in like 2010, CM Punk was lapping the competition when it came to mic skills.
Yeah.
Everybody else is caught up.
A lot of people have caught up. I don't think he's gotten worse. I think he's still really good.
He's still pretty good.
I would still consider him a Mount Rushmore guy, but so many people have gotten so many better.
So here's the thing. We won't know if Phil is washed on the mic until he turns heel. If and when he turns heel, that's going to be the true litmus test in terms of whether he's regressed in terms of mic skills or not.
Good point.
You know, baby faces in general may not have as much interesting stuff to work with as opposed to heels. So let's just wait on all that. Punk turns heel. If he comes out and it's just generic insults, he starts insulting everybody's sports teams and everybody's town.
That'd be amazing.
Then, it's not 2010, 2011 Phil, gone.
Let me counter with this though, for the sake of conversation. And you know me, biggest CM Punk apologist there is.
Well, only next to being top Cody apologist, but okay.
That being said, he does have really good stuff. So I agree with you 99% of the time, but when a babyface is in something really good, with Drew McIntyre, where he can talk about the bracelet and his dog and his wife, I think it speaks more to how good Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins have gotten. And on top of that, not just that, but dude, if you think about in AEW and in his previous tenure in WWE, if things were as scripted or at least as manufactured under the, watchful eye of Vince McMahon as we think they were, and in AEW where people just do what they want to do. Now that he's in WWE, it seems like there's more of a possibility that it's him, Drew, and Seth all trying to get the best out of each other.
Yeah, totally.
So he's dude, who is he feuding with before he left WWE? Ryback? Of course he's going to stand heads and tails above him.
He ain't going to get much from Ryback in the promo department.
Right. And so I think that it's probably less he's not as good, and even not necessarily everybody else is much better. They're all on the same page, and their goal is to make everybody look good. So, given that CM Punk is probably the one back there telling them what to say and how to say it, my guess is he's even better than he was before.
You're saying
he's the director.
Auteur Phil is what you're saying back
Cinema
there.
Master Punk. That's his name.
All right, you may have a clips to your...
oh, no. Is that worse than my Cody take?
Yeah.
That he was running everything good about AEW?
Yeah, I think so. Adam King here says, Cena in his last run should become the belt collector and win every single title at one time. Yes, even the women's. For no reason, but only so I can see it happen.
Okay. I guess title?
If they want it. He never won the Intercontinental title, did he?
No, he didn't. It'd be weird if he did right now.
Have him win the Intercontinental title.
Against Braun. Yeah. I'm gonna go, and then Braun Breaker learns about how to beat John Cena.
Cena beats him the first time. Braun learns from it. He beats Cena, gets the title back.
6 minutes at WrestleMania.
Let's do it. Works for everybody.
I would like to just pause on that real quick. I would love to see Cena because they got 2 world titles. You can have him break the record. Have him break the record. Or do the thing I think we talked about.
Have him beat Cody. I agree.
I think we talked about this. Well, that's ridiculous. Have him...
Cena's got no chance against Gunther. The only chance is against Cody. Come on.
Have Orton win a couple. and then they're tied at WrestleMania. Who gets the record?
Yeah.
I think that's a cool idea.
All right. Beastly Gamer, hot take here. Dominic Mysterio is the best young talent WWE has on their roster. From a character perspective, I don't disagree with that.
Dude, we're gonna have some decisions to make because we're gonna talk about how to approach the Friendo Awards. But one award I want to give is strictly character based.
Absolutely.
And
best character.
Dude, honestly, like character / performance. Dude, right now I feel like it's Dominic's to lose, but there's a lot of really, really good.
I know Drew McIntyre's got to be high up there.
I know
too.
he is. That's going to be a hard decision to make. Luis Areza, I love some of these takes that are actually hot. He says MJF is an average wrestler who gets saved by the people he works with. Take his match with Wardlow as an example.
Circumstances. I don't. That's an outlier because the circumstances were so different and unusual than all of his other matches. Basically, if you want to point out, talk about the if you want examples to kind of prove that case, maybe you could talk about how like the 2-on-1 match against the Righteous, that was basically an 8-minute comedy match. Mm-hmm. I think there's better examples if you want to try to make that point. Not that I agree with it, but if you want to try to make that point, I don't think he used that as the example because there were so many circumstances outside of what was going on in the ring that determined, I felt like, where that match went.
Yeah.
So I don't really feel like that's the best example. I think MJF's a really good wrestler. I don't think he's average. I think he's above average.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I think that I think your point about Wardlow is absolutely correct. I don't think Will Ospreay can bring anybody that isn't a great wrestler to that 60-minute match that they had. Mm-hmm. That match was phenomenal, and the amount of stamina it probably required is off the fucking charts.
You got that right.
I don't think anybody but two of the best wrestlers on the planet could have done that match. I think that was a spectacular match, and I think MJF is a great wrestler. I do.
Shotgun Sean here says, hot take.
Oh,
Okada comes across to me as lazy in AEW, barely wrestles and feels like he puts in minimal effort into what he does, all the while probably getting paid an obscene amount of money to barely do anything of note. Tony Khan is absolutely not getting his money's worth.
All right, let me suggest this. All right, there's this boat. And it's a beautiful boat, Larson. It's a wonderful boat. It's majestic. It's amazing. It can do all sorts of things. It can do fishing. It could do expeditions. It can do all sorts of great stuff, right?
Yeah, treasure hunting.
But then there's this giant wave called apathy and the Young Bucks that this boat gets swept up in. I feel like when the Young Bucks, when their story has been good, which like we got a relatively small sampling of that, Okada is with it because he's with them. And when you see him in the ring, which granted is not really enough in my opinion, but when you see him in the ring, oh my God, he's still Okada. And I like the promos and I like the comedy stuff. But right now, that story isn't doing shit. And he's wrapped up in it.
Yeah, I think that's more the thing as opposed to him coming across as lazy. I think the idea is, to a degree, his character is resting on the laurels of what he accomplished in Japan.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Claudio was getting at in the promo this past week. So I don't want this Okada who's kind of cruising, getting by on, everything he did in New Japan and just going around calling everybody bitch in AEW. He wants the Rainmaker back.
Yeah.
He wants that wrestler that won 4 G1s that had the longest reign in IWGP Heavyweight Championship history.
Do you think it's possible? And granted, we're not there. We don't know.
Yeah.
But is it possible that with seemingly like the Young Bucks' diminished role, I feel like they're probably going to come out on the winning end at Wembley.
Yeah, I don't know why you make a triple threat unless they win.
Right. With their seemingly diminished role, whatever you want to call it, could we see Okada break away from them in the near future?
I don't think that'd be a bad idea.
I think it'd probably be a good idea, to be honest with you.
Darius the Great says the Lucha Brothers would be better off in NXT than the main roster. I don't think for 1 second Triple H will magically change his booking philosophy for the tag division because of them. And the single stars, they end up stuck on speed.
I'm really interested to see how the CW approaches NXT. If, we have those first 2 shows in arenas.
That they're going to load up.
They're going to load up. We got Punk, we got Orton. If NXT had some sort of change in their presentation, then I could see the Lucha Brothers working there. It's just, to me, it looks too small. And I want them to have that WWE level of packaging, presentation, exactly. And that's why I think main roster would be good for them. Whether or not Triple H is going to see them as shiny new toys and actually do something with them remains to be seen. You got to think this, for the short term, they'd be okay.
I mean, he's never really shown that he adheres to that kind of approach. If anything, he takes the opposite tact where they sign somebody, we don't know what to do with them. Well, let's just not shove them out on TV until we have a plan.
Yeah.
For the most part. And so I would think if they were to sign there and they didn't have concrete plans for him, they would probably sit in the sideline for a while until that happened.
I mean, look at what they did with the Street Profits and Gargano and Ciampa this past week.
It's a really good match.
It was a really good match. And I feel like, man, if they just drop a little bit of story into the tag division.
I know.
It just
about
takes
the tag
that.
teams, not about teams splitting up. Yes.
About the tag teams, not about potential solo runs or bloodline stuff or whatever.
No.
Which I know the bloodline has the tag titles right now.
Put your ones up for bloodline, Steve.
OG bloodline, definitely.
Jay Smooth says Mariah May is the best / most impactful non-ex-WWE hire AEW has made. Come in with a long-term story already laid out, which elevated the women's division more than than other signings have.
Yeah, I think, didn't she say like in an interview recently that when she was approached to come into AEW, it was like, we've got this All About Eve story ready to go and we want to do this. That's how everybody should be, by the way.
Yeah, that's how it should be for everybody.
It should always be.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I know it's worked out really well where you could tell from day one where she showed up on TV, they knew exactly what story they wanted her to be involved in. And for the most part, it's been booked really, really well. And it's done a great job of elevating Tony's reign as champion.
Mm-hmm.
It's done a great job of elevating the championship because it's involved in an interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most interesting stories they've got. And, the interesting thing is what's going to happen, assuming they adhere to the ending of the movie, which is that Eve wins, so Mariah wins. Are they going to then follow what happens in the movie with Mariah? Is there going to be is Mariah going to have her own Mariah, essentially?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
And if so, who is that going to be?
Yeah. Granville Nation says Ric Flair is one of the most overrated wrestlers in history and is the least talented member of Evolution.
Wow.
That is a hot take. Look, you can say what you will about Ric Flair, the person. Ric Flair, the performer, the in-ring performer, kind of like on the Mount Rushmore, probably.
You watch some of his matches back through a modern kind of viewpoint, and I could understand people would think, well, that's the huge deal. He does the same thing every time.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought the strength of Flair's in-ring work was that... And it goes back to what he did during his peak, which is in the 80s, go from territory to territory, have these super long matches with that territory's top babyface and make that babyface look like $1 million.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Wrestling 1 hour time limit draws like 5 days a week. It's insane. Flair always knows how to make his opponent look really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of where the greatness lies from the in-ring perspective.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Aldo, we'll finish on this one. Says, any treat is a summertime treat if eaten in the summer. Don't apologize for anything, Larson. You enjoy that marble cake with frozen whipped topping.
So I understand. You can enjoy marble cake with frozen whipped topping at any time of the year. There's something to be said about a nice piece of cake with that refreshing frozen whipped topping above it, on top of it.
What do you drink with it?
Oh, just whatever. I'm not a milk guy. I know you are, so I'm sure you would enjoy some milk with it.
You know what's nuts to me is people who don't wash their food down with something as they're eating.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand that myself.
Like Bama will eat an entire giant plate of tendies, and like I'll be like, bro, didn't you wash that down with anything? Like your Capri Sun's just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like you haven't even got the straw out. She's like, oh yeah, I forgot it was there. How? Lacey does the same thing. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause especially something like that where the breading could be a bit. It could dry your mouth out, and you could scratch up your throat a little bit because it's a little rough. Yeah, I totally need something to.
I also love coffee with cake. Coffee,
some coffee with anything sweet's good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so
really good.
Anyways, this is like not even lukewarm at this point.
Steve's getting ready for basketball by loading up on the caffeine with some
be jittery nerves out there.
Tepid coffee.
That's my secret to success, Larson. Thanks for checking us out. We'll see you guys later.
Goodbye.